You cannot lose when it's your time to win. Champion mentality is so much more than just being a champion and showing up and doing the work. It's about doing the work when no one's watching, doing the work when you don't want to. It's doing the hard things in life of getting better and better every single day. Not about winning and being the best in the world, but being the best version of yourself. Whatever I'm afraid to do, I do it. Anything I'm afraid of, I confront it. No one wants to go into the shovel. They want to choose the 4-lane highway. That's the nice route. The shovel means you're going to get hurt. The shovel means you're going to suffer. The shovel means you're going to hit rock a lot of times. And we all know what digging through rock is like. This is why I decided to pick up that shovel that we all decide not to take. Hey man, look, I want to tell you to keep going. I want to tell you to keep going. Because when it all works out, you're going to thank yourself for never giving up. You're going to thank yourself for never cheating the process. You're going to thank yourself for remembering it's a marathon, not a sprint. No matter how hard it got, you never got off your pivot and you finished the race. You're going to thank yourself for all of that. You know, don't listen to anyone. Everybody's scared. You know, everyone tells you how things worked out, but it worked out for you that way. And then a lot of people will try to put their fears on you. You can't do that. No, you can't do it. They're just projecting. They're putting things that they don't believe that they can do on you. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I led you to believe it was easy when it wasn't. Maybe I made you think my highlights started at the free throw line and not in the gym. Maybe I made you think that every shot I took was a gangway. How many years are you willing to waste in your life because you're following an outdated map? Whether we realize it or not, each of us grows up with a certain map for our lives. It's a map telling us where we should go, what we should do, and who we should become. The problem is, at some point, our maps become out of date. The scariest moment isn't necessarily getting lost. It's realizing that you've been going in the wrong direction. So sometimes you have to be willing to throw out the old maps and explore on your own. Everybody wants to judge themselves through the lens of a moment. They want to be cool right now today. And they're asking themselves, what's the least I need to do to feel cool? What's the least I need to do to be successful? But once I stopped asking that question, and I started thinking about really who I could become, and really harnessing the human ability to adapt, what people need to understand is humans have become the apex predator. Not by being the strongest, not even by being the most intelligent, but rather by being the most adaptive to change. And when you realize all of us are born with nothing, no skills, no knowledge, nothing. We're a lump of flesh that can hardly hold our own head up. We can't take care of ourselves. We defecate in our own pants. And our job isn't to be great today. Our job is to build ourselves brick by brick. And that is what separates the truly greats from everyone else. They're willing to put in that hard work. They're willing to reframe the question from what's the least I can do to what's the most I can bear. And when you're looking at yourself on that long timeline, when you're saying, what can I accomplish over the next 10 years? What is the amount of suffering and backbreaking work that I'm willing to put in and endure in order to become something extraordinary? That's the key. You actually have to perform. It's not about convincing someone else that you're cool or looking good on paper. It's about actually delivering a result. It's about actually becoming capable of the extraordinary. But you have to understand the way the mechanisms, the very anatomy of this human works. And it works by building things up brick by brick. It works by starting out terrible at something, incapable of something, and being willing to put in the work to grind it out to become that. And when people can move beyond the words, when they can move beyond that superficial stuff that people say, and they can transcend that and see what it means to actually put in work, to actually get good at something, to really think about improvement. Everybody just wants to see the reward come back to them. They want the heavy weight of the ring. They want the jewels. They want the riches. They want the house, the cars, or all of that. Want the performance? Want to be great? Want to look at yourself and believe in who you've become. And even more importantly, if there's no one around to look, if there's no one around to impress, do I still push? And if at that point I'm still willing to push, in that point, in that circumstance, I still want to be something, and I still want to wring the potential out of myself, and I want to actualize that potential. I want to actuate it. I want to actually do something with it even when nobody's watching, then I'll be proud of myself. Then I know I'll accomplish something because that's real. That's beyond the superficial. And that's where people have to get. If you really want to do something, stop worrying about the echo and start worrying about the shout. Believe in who you can become tomorrow. And let every day, until the day you drop, be about wringing that potential out of yourself. Be about building something and becoming something brick by brick. Putting in that day-to-day work of building something, of becoming capable of something today that you weren't capable of yesterday, of asking yourself how far you can go, of becoming obsessed with that process and no longer thinking about the end. And when you understand the difference between no longer focusing on being a champion and instead delivering a championship performance, everything will change, because it's the people who build themselves into someone who can give a championship performance that win. Your life is entirely yours. Every decision, every reaction, every failure, every success, you own it. Taking responsibility doesn't mean feeling guilty about the past or punishing yourself for mistakes. It means recognizing that where you are today is the direct result of the choices you've made, and from this point forward, the choices you make determine everything. When you stop blaming others, your parents, your teachers, your circumstances, you gain a level of power that few ever achieve. Suddenly, the excuses vanish, and with them, the limitations that have been holding you back. Emotional control is the ultimate form of freedom. Life will throw anger, frustration, disappointment, and fear at you constantly, but none of them need to control your actions. Recognizing destructive emotions and confronting them head-on allows you to act deliberately rather than react instinctively. Self-pity is seductive because it feels justified, but it robs you of energy and focus. Choosing discipline over indulgence, effort over ease, you start to build real happiness, not fleeting pleasure, but a deep, unshakable satisfaction born from mastery of yourself. Self-mastery begins with your body, your mind, and your emotions. When you are in control of your physical health, you gain energy and vitality that fuel everything else you do. When your mind is disciplined, you can focus on what truly matters, avoiding distractions and the endless pursuit of minor gratifications. And when your emotions are under control, you can navigate life's challenges with clarity and resilience. Energy, vitality, and focus are the foundation of achievement. Without them, talent and ambition are wasted. But with them, you are capable of extraordinary things. Every day presents countless small choices: to act or procrastinate, to engage with what matters or chase distractions, to respond thoughtfully or react impulsively. Taking responsibility and mastering yourself means choosing the hard, meaningful path over the easy, trivial one. Happiness, strength, and success are built brick by brick through disciplined effort, mindful action, and unwavering ownership of your life. No one else can do it for you, and that is exactly where your freedom and power lie. Fear is just another part of being human, but it doesn't have to control you. It shows up as anxiety, hesitation, doubt, or avoidance, and most people let it dictate their lives. The key is not to eliminate fear, because that's impossible. It's to acknowledge it, confront it, and act despite it. Every time you face what scares you, you grow stronger. Fear becomes a compass, pointing toward the areas in life where you have the most potential to evolve. Being afraid is not a weakness. Succumbing to it is. Comfort is the enemy of growth. People cling to safety, routines, and certainty because it feels good in the moment, but it robs them of the extraordinary. True growth comes from embracing discomfort, seeking challenges, and walking the path others avoid. The hard road, filled with obstacles and suffering, builds resilience, character, and permanent results. The easy path offers only temporary fixes and fleeting satisfaction. Choosing to confront fear, dig through the rock in life, and endure hardship is how champions are forged. Self-discipline is inseparable from fearlessness. It's the ability to act consistently, even when fear whispers to stop, to shrink, or to quit. Every day presents opportunities to test yourself, to push past your limits, and to expand what you are capable of. Fear may always be present, but it can no longer dictate your actions. You learn to stand in it, move through it, and let it strengthen your resolve. In this process, courage is cultivated not by absence of fear, but by mastery over it, brick by brick, action by action. Choice by choice, your identity shapes everything you do, and changing your life requires changing the story you tell yourself about who you are. Identity and values are the forces that drive behavior. If you see yourself as someone limited, powerless, or incapable, then your actions, thoughts, and decisions will reinforce that belief every single day. To transform your life, you must consciously choose a new narrative. A narrative where you are capable, resilient, and committed to growth. Every time you act in alignment with that new identity, you reinforce it. The more consistently you act, the more automatic it becomes, and eventually it hardwires itself into who you are. Your thoughts create your emotions, and your emotions shape your actions. A fearful thought generates anxiety, and that anxiety reinforces more fearful thoughts. If left unchecked, this cycle keeps you trapped in a familiar, predictable future where nothing changes and growth is impossible. To break free, you must allow yourself to fully feel the emotions that arise without escaping them through distraction, consumption, or avoidance. Feel the fear, the frustration, the doubt, but don't let them drive your decisions. By acknowledging them and choosing to act regardless, you reclaim control over your state of being. Habits are the architecture of identity. They are the repeated automatic behaviors that define who you are on a daily basis. The small actions you take consistently, even when no one is watching, compound over time into your ultimate capability and character. It's not about massive, dramatic gestures or sudden transformations. It's about showing up every day, doing the hard work, confronting discomfort, and building skill incrementally. Each repetition, each small act of courage or discipline adds a brick to the foundation of the person you are becoming. Commitment is the ultimate test of identity. You cannot live a life of fear or doubt and expect to achieve greatness. You must decide what you want and pursue it relentlessly, without hedging or leaving room for second-guessing. Success and fulfillment are born from single-minded focus, from giving yourself fully to the pursuit of growth, skill, and mastery. Other people's opinions, doubts, or judgments are irrelevant. They cannot define you unless you allow them to. True power comes from aligning your actions with your chosen identity, taking ownership of every thought, decision, and behavior, and refusing to let fear, distraction, or doubt dictate your path. By reshaping your identity, mastering your emotions, and committing to disciplined action, you create the conditions for extraordinary growth. You stop living reactively and begin living intentionally. You no longer ask, "Can I?" but instead act as though you already are the person capable of achieving greatness. And in doing so, you unlock not just potential, but the very ability to become someone who can overcome fear, endure hardship, and perform at a level that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Every choice, every moment, every action becomes a declaration of the identity you are creating and the life you are building. Taking responsibility for your life is the cornerstone of personal power and transformation. Too often, people confuse responsibility with guilt, thinking that acknowledging their role in a situation means they have done something wrong. But true responsibility is not about blame. It is about recognizing the power you hold to change your circumstances, to direct your actions, and to shape your reality. When you stop blaming others, when you stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems, you reclaim control. This act of self-mastery is not easy. It requires honesty, courage, and relentless commitment to your own growth. Self-pity is one of the most destructive emotions a person can harbor. It feeds on itself, erodes confidence, and destroys relationships, productivity, and opportunities. Feeling sorry for yourself because of unfairness, loss, or misfortune only perpetuates suffering. By taking responsibility, you stop letting external circumstances dictate your internal state. You understand that while you may not control everything that happens to you, you always control how you respond. Discipline in your emotions, thoughts, and actions is what allows you to convert setbacks into learning experiences, fear into fuel, and pain into power. Mastery of body, mind, and emotions is non-negotiable. Your energy, vitality, and focus are the foundation for everything else in your life. Without them, wealth, recognition, or accomplishments become hollow. People who fail to cultivate their inner resources often chase superficial goals or distractions, mistaking movement for progress. True achievement comes from aligning your daily habits, your emotional regulation, and your physical health with your highest priorities. Avoiding distractions and minor pursuits ensures that your time, energy, and attention are invested in what truly matters. Discipline is the bridge between desire and result. It is the consistent choice to act in your own best interest, even when motivation wanes, when fear intrudes, or when comfort tempts you to quit. Every act of self-discipline compounds, creating momentum that builds resilience, skill, and confidence. The disciplined mind does not wait for perfect conditions, external validation, or external control. It acts. It chooses growth over comfort, action over stagnation, and personal responsibility over blame. By mastering yourself, you lay the groundwork for extraordinary achievement and a life fully lived, built on intentionality, integrity, and unwavering commitment. Fear is an emotion like any other, yet it holds disproportionate power over most people's lives. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of the unknown, fear of loneliness. These invisible chains dictate decisions, limit experiences, and stunt growth. The moment you acknowledge fear for what it is, a signal, an emotion, not a prophecy, you reclaim your power. Fear is false evidence appearing real. It is a story your mind tells about a future that may never come. Recognizing this allows you to confront fear, to act despite it, and to grow stronger with every challenge you face. Experiencing fear is inevitable, but how you respond defines your trajectory. You cannot avoid fear and hope to achieve greatness. You must face it head-on. Comfort is the enemy of progress. It lulls you into safety while quietly killing ambition, creativity, and vision. Life's most meaningful accomplishments exist beyond the edge of fear, in the space where discomfort meets persistence. To perform at your highest level, you must cultivate courage not as the absence of fear, but as the discipline to act despite it. Each time you confront fear, each time you step into uncertainty, you build resilience and reinforce the identity of someone capable of extraordinary achievement. Facing fear requires preparation, strategy, and repetition. The best way to neutralize fear is to acknowledge it, understand it, and develop a plan to move through it. Avoiding fear only strengthens it, while action diminishes it. When fear interrupts your routine, challenges your confidence, or tempts you to quit, that is precisely the moment to lean in, to prove to yourself that your will is stronger than your doubt. By consistently confronting fear, you create a feedback loop of empowerment. The more you act despite fear, the more your confidence grows, and the more capable you become of tackling increasingly difficult challenges. Ultimately, mastery over fear is mastery over yourself. It is not about eliminating fear, but about refusing to let it dictate your life. True courage is forged through repeated encounters with discomfort, uncertainty, and risk. It is the understanding that the only way to live fully is to embrace life in all its dimensions, even when it scares you. By confronting fear, you unlock doors to growth, opportunity, and achievement that remain closed to those who choose safety over action. The person who acts despite fear becomes unstoppable, not because fear is gone, but because they have learned that fear is simply a stepping stone on the path to greatness. Discipline is the invisible force that separates dreams from reality, talent from skill, and intention from accomplishment. Talent may give someone a head start, but it is discipline that allows a person to outwork, outlearn, and outlast everyone else. Skill is acquired through consistent, focused effort, often in the face of discomfort, doubt, and repeated failure. True mastery requires the willingness to endure the process, to die in the pursuit of excellence, and to commit fully to daily incremental growth. There are no shortcuts. Each brick laid in your personal development builds a foundation that cannot be taken away. Self-discipline is about commanding your mind, body, and emotions to act in alignment with your highest goals. Even when motivation fades, every day presents choices, some aligned with your growth, others with comfort, distraction, or avoidance. Choosing the former consistently is what defines those who achieve extraordinary results. It is through this repeated commitment, this daily refusal to surrender to laziness or fear, that true power is cultivated. You cannot rely on external validation, fleeting inspiration, or luck. The only reliable source of progress is your disciplined action. Discipline is also about commitment in adversity. Life will challenge you with setbacks, heartbreaks, distractions, and failures. The disciplined person does not quit, does not rationalize escape, and does not wait for conditions to be perfect. Instead, they lean in, endure, and perform regardless of external circumstances. This is what allows ordinary people to achieve extraordinary outcomes: the ability to persevere when others falter, to focus when others are distracted, and to act when others hesitate. The ultimate reward of discipline is freedom. The freedom to live on your terms, the freedom to create impact, and the freedom to realize your full potential. Discipline transforms fear into action, setbacks into lessons, and limitations into stepping stones. It is not about punishment or rigidity. It is about self-respect, integrity, and the pursuit of your highest vision. By mastering discipline, you master your life. You become the architect of your destiny, capable of delivering performances, results, and contributions that others can only aspire to. Vision and purpose are the guiding forces that give life direction, meaning, and momentum. Without a clear vision, action becomes random, goals feel distant, and progress slows. Purpose is not just a lofty idea. It is the internal compass that shapes decisions, fuels persistence, and motivates consistent effort even when the path is hard. When you know what you're striving for and why it matters, every challenge, every failure, and every moment of doubt becomes an opportunity to learn, adapt, and move closer to your ideal self. Purpose requires clarity of intention and the courage to define what truly matters to you, rather than following the outdated maps or expectations handed down by others. Many people live lives dictated by habit, fear, or societal norms, never stopping to ask what they truly want or who they wish to become. Vision is the antidote to this complacency. It forces you to step outside of the familiar, to explore new possibilities, and to commit to a future that excites and challenges you. Without it, even success can feel hollow, and accomplishments may fail to satisfy. Living with purpose also means embracing discomfort and uncertainty. The path to meaningful goals is rarely straight. It is riddled with obstacles, setbacks, and moments of fear. But these challenges are not roadblocks. They are the very tools that forge strength, resilience, and character. Those who pursue a purpose-driven life understand that the journey itself is as valuable as the destination. Each step, no matter how small, contributes to building a legacy of growth, contribution, and personal mastery. Purpose also demands that you take ownership of your life. It is not enough to dream or hope. You must act relentlessly in alignment with your vision. This requires focus, sacrifice, and a refusal to be distracted by trivialities, social comparison, or fleeting gratification. By dedicating yourself to a purpose greater than comfort or convenience, you cultivate the discipline, courage, and persistence necessary to create extraordinary results. Purpose transforms ordinary effort into meaningful achievement, fear into fuel, and potential into reality. Fear is a natural part of the human experience, yet it is often misunderstood, overemphasized, and allowed to control lives. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid fear, seeking comfort and safety, and avoiding situations that challenge them. But true growth, achievement, and fulfillment lie on the other side of fear. Fear is not an enemy to be eliminated. It is a signal, a guidepost, and an opportunity. It tells you where you need to step up, act courageously, and expand beyond your current limitations. Confronting fear begins with acknowledgement. Denying or suppressing fear only gives it power. By recognizing your fear, naming it, and understanding its source, you reclaim control. Fear is an emotion, like any other, and its intensity is often amplified by the stories we tell ourselves about potential outcomes. By separating the story from reality, you can respond with clarity and intention, rather than reactive avoidance. Facing fear requires a plan, consistent action, and the willingness to feel uncomfortable. Yet it is through this process that confidence, resilience, and strength are forged. Fearlessness does not mean the absence of fear. It means refusing to let fear dictate your choices. It means taking action, even when anxiety, doubt, or uncertainty is present. It means choosing to be the aggressor in your life, rather than a passive observer, stepping forward when others hesitate and embracing challenges that others avoid. Each time you confront fear, you train your mind and body to endure discomfort, to persist in adversity, and to grow stronger through struggle. Fear also teaches lessons about self-reliance, emotional control, and perseverance. Life will always present situations that test your courage: loss, failure, rejection, or uncertainty. How you respond defines the trajectory of your growth and your success. By approaching fear with discipline, awareness, and intentionality, you transform it into a tool for progress rather than a barrier. Those who master fear understand that the path to excellence, fulfillment, and meaningful impact is paved with the courage to act despite fear, and the wisdom to learn and adapt from every encounter with it. Discipline and consistency are the cornerstones of achievement and personal mastery. Talent alone is not enough. Natural ability may open doors, but it is the consistent application of effort, day after day, that builds skill, resilience, and lasting success. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment, transforming intention into action and dreams into reality. It requires showing up even when motivation wanes, resisting short-term temptations, and committing to a process that often feels slow, repetitive, and unglamorous. Consistency compounds over time. Every small action, every disciplined choice adds up brick by brick, forming the foundation for extraordinary results. Greatness is rarely instantaneous. It is earned through the accumulation of effort, practice, and deliberate improvement. The most successful individuals are not necessarily the most talented. They are the ones willing to endure the grind, embrace routine, and persist when others quit. Discipline is what allows skill to be honed, fear to be managed, and vision to be realized. Self-discipline is also a form of self-respect. It is a commitment to your own growth, a refusal to settle for mediocrity, and a recognition that your future is determined by what you do consistently today. It requires mastery over your body, mind, and emotions, ensuring that every action aligns with your larger goals. Habits are the building blocks of discipline. By automating positive behaviors through repetition, you create a life that steadily progresses toward your highest potential. Consistency and discipline are inseparable from personal responsibility. The choices you make each day, no matter how small, determine the trajectory of your life. Success is rarely the result of luck. It is the product of relentless commitment, preparation, and the courage to persist despite setbacks, fear, and doubt. By embracing discipline, you transform challenges into opportunities, discomfort into growth, and potential into tangible achievement. The true champions are those who can endure, adapt, and perform at their best, not just once, but repeatedly in every circumstance, without needing external validation. Vision, purpose, and meaningful goals are essential for creating a life of impact, fulfillment, and direction. Without a clear vision, it is easy to drift through life, reacting to circumstances rather than intentionally shaping your path. Purpose provides the framework for your actions, giving meaning to the daily effort, sacrifice, and challenges you endure. When you know why you are doing something, the how becomes more manageable, and the obstacles along the way become opportunities to grow rather than insurmountable barriers. Meaningful goals are more than wishful thinking. They are deliberate targets that align with your values, passions, and long-term vision. They act as compasses, guiding your daily actions and decisions and creating momentum that compounds over time. Short-term goals create immediate feedback and motivation, while long-term goals provide direction and continuity. By breaking your vision into achievable steps, you create a series of milestones that build confidence, skill, and progress. The pursuit of meaningful goals also requires immersion, commitment, and focus. Life is full of distractions, trivial pursuits, and minor achievements that can dilute your energy and attention. To truly realize your potential, you must prioritize what matters, avoid the superficial, and dedicate yourself to deep, sustained effort. Immersive experiences, those that engage your mind, body, and soul fully, create lasting learning, transformation, and insight that cannot be achieved superficially. Visualization and emotional connection are critical tools for achieving goals. By vividly imagining your desired outcomes and feeling the emotions associated with success in the present moment, you train your mind and body to recognize the path toward achievement. This alignment between vision, belief, and action accelerates growth and increases the likelihood of turning your dreams into reality. Purpose-driven goals are not just about personal gain. They are about creating impact, contributing to others, and leaving a meaningful legacy. When your actions are rooted in purpose, discipline becomes easier, fear becomes a tool, and every challenge becomes a stepping stone toward becoming the person you are meant to be. Growth, learning, and adaptation are fundamental to human potential and success. Every individual begins life with nothing. No skills, no knowledge, no experience, and it is through consistent effort, curiosity, and resilience that we evolve. Growth requires humility to acknowledge what you do not know, courage to face the unknown, and persistence to continue developing even when progress seems slow or invisible. The truly successful are those who embrace this lifelong process, continuously refining themselves, acquiring new skills, and expanding their capabilities. Learning is not just about acquiring information. It is about applying knowledge in ways that produce results and create lasting change. Knowledge without action is meaningless. Skill is developed through deliberate practice, repetition, and incremental improvement, often in the face of frustration, failure, and discomfort. By focusing on what you can learn from every experience, success, or failure, you convert obstacles into opportunities and challenges into lessons. Adaptation is the ability to respond effectively to change, uncertainty, and adversity. Humans have thrived as a species because of their capacity to adapt, not because they were the strongest or the most intelligent. Success in life demands the same mindset, being flexible, open-minded, and willing to adjust strategies while keeping sight of your long-term vision. Resistance to change, attachment to outdated maps of how life should be, or clinging to comfort zones limits growth and ensures stagnation. Together, growth, learning, and adaptation create resilience, empowerment, and the capacity to achieve extraordinary outcomes. They allow individuals to transcend fear, overcome setbacks, and continuously move toward mastery of themselves and their environment. Those who commit to this process become the architects of their own destiny, capable of achieving goals far beyond what initial circumstances or innate talent might suggest. In essence, growth is not optional. It is the pathway to realizing your fullest potential and becoming the person you are meant to be. Fear, courage, and overcoming obstacles are central to achieving any meaningful success in life. Fear is a natural human emotion, an instinct designed to protect us, but it often becomes a barrier when allowed to dominate our choices. Everyone experiences fear. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of loss, fear of judgment. But the difference between those who succeed and those who stagnate is how they respond to it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite it. It is acknowledging fear, confronting it directly, and using it as a catalyst for growth rather than a reason to retreat. Overcoming obstacles requires a mindset that views challenges not as punishments or signs of inadequacy, but as opportunities to develop skill, strength, and resilience. Life inevitably presents setbacks, difficulties, and painful experiences, but those who succeed harness these moments to refine their character and sharpen their capabilities. The ability to persist when things are hard, to continue moving forward despite discomfort, and to embrace the hard road instead of the easy shortcut separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Adversity becomes a teacher, and courage becomes the muscle that grows stronger each time it is exercised. Self-discipline and consistency are the engines that drive long-term achievement. Talent alone is insufficient. Skill and mastery are acquired through repeated effort, deliberate practice, and unwavering commitment. Every day presents a choice: to take the easy path, to procrastinate, to give in to distraction, or to push through even when no one is watching. Self-discipline is the ability to choose actions aligned with your long-term goals rather than short-term comfort. It is the backbone of personal accountability, the bridge between intention and accomplishment. Consistency compounds over time. Small, disciplined actions performed daily accumulate into extraordinary results. Resilience. Handling failure and learning from loss are what transforms setbacks into stepping stones. Failure is inevitable in the pursuit of greatness. It is not a reflection of inadequacy, but feedback on the path to mastery. Those who thrive in life embrace failure as an essential part of growth, analyze it without self-pity, and use it to adjust their strategies. Loss and grief, whether personal, professional, or emotional, are similarly transformative. Experiencing pain fully, learning from it, and taking responsibility for your response cultivates strength, empathy, and clarity of purpose. Resilience is built in these moments. It is the ability to recover, adapt, and persist with renewed focus and determination. Emotional intelligence, relationships, and connection are critical to living a fulfilled life. No matter how accomplished one becomes, life without meaningful relationships and authentic connection is hollow. Emotional intelligence involves understanding your own emotions, regulating reactions, empathizing with others, and navigating interpersonal dynamics effectively. Relationships should nourish, inspire, and challenge you to become your best self. Surrounding yourself with people who fan your flames rather than extinguish them magnifies your potential, while toxic relationships drain energy and impede growth. The ability to connect deeply, communicate authentically, and contribute positively to the lives of others is as important as any personal achievement. Legacy, contribution, and impact are the culmination of a life lived with purpose, courage, and discipline. True fulfillment comes from creating value beyond yourself, improving the lives of others, leaving a positive mark on your community, and inspiring those who follow. Legacy is not about fame, wealth, or recognition. It is about the difference you make through consistent action, intentional choices, and commitment to your principles. Contribution involves using your skills, energy, and resources to uplift others, turning personal growth into collective benefit. Impact is the measure of a life well lived, how your presence, decisions, and efforts ripple outward, shaping the world in meaningful ways. A life focused on legacy and contribution transforms challenges into purpose, fear into courage, and potential into tangible outcomes that endure beyond your own existence.